Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for being here today. My name is Jo Delamore, and I represent the Work That Reconnects Network. Thank you so much for joining us for the Webinars and Conversation Cafe series, where we're offering a wide range of rich, educational, and supportive opportunities for our global community of Work That Reconnects facilitators, members, and friends of the network. Our intention is to strengthen the web of the Work That Reconnects community while continually reaching beyond our current edges to weave deeper connections with others who are contributing to the great turning in diverse and complementary ways. I'd like to introduce Helena ter, Ellen and Hector Aristizabal, if I pronounced that correctly, I'm not sure. They are going to be leading us in a webinar today about their project Re-Conectando in the wounded land of Colombia. So welcome so much to Hector and Helena, and here you go.
Well, Jo, thank you very much for guiding us in this wonderful space. I really feel excited to be with you, and thank you for taking this time out of your Sunday to share about what's happening in this beautiful land of Colombia. I would love to take a moment first to connect ourselves with our bodies, with our respiration, and with the earth we're walking on right now. I'm talking to you from the land of Bogota, Bacata, land of the Muisca indigenous people, and now of many people from all of Colombia and of the world. And I think it would be lovely if we could connect to an intention of healing this land of Colombia, the wounded land of Colombia, its people, its children, its nature. And I would love to do this with a song that is being sung by children of the Cauca region, where a lot of Nasa indigenous people live, who are famous for their non-violent struggle, their incredible dignity. And these children sing about, they give a voice to the earth. They say, I'm mountain, sun and thunder. I'm rain, wind and spring. But if you don't know how to love me, how can I love you? And the children that sing, what is there in your hearts? Why did we lose respect? Why do we not love each other anymore? We've lost balance and we're alone in our destruction. And then as a voice of hope, they sing together, but I know of hearts so beautiful, so full of dreams, of cultures getting together, who want to reweave the threads of love. Please, let's walk in peace, in beauty, in reconciliation. So, if you want, maybe you can share close your eyes or look at the pictures and feel the deep intention, this deep dream of the children of the Cauca region of Colombia. And Jo will.
Montañas soy, sol y trueno, lluvia, viento y primavera. Si no aprendes a quererme, ¿cómo puedo yo quererte? Soy, sol y trueno, lluvia, viento y primavera. Si no aprendes a quererme, ¿cómo puedo yo quererte? En contra del viento, de los bosques, de los sueños, de los ríos, del amor, la guerra.
This song is one of my favorite, and it always moves me. But today it particularly moves me. Just some days ago, an 11-year-old child of the Embera indigenous tribe was violated by 7 people of the army of Colombia. And this is going on all the time. Children, women being abused and used as a botín de guerra, no? I'm sorry. It's so incredible. The beauty of these people and how they are suppressed, and well, we know about what is going on with Black Lives Matter and Indigenous Lives Matter, and all life matters. And there's so much life here in Colombia. And that is certainly what drew me to this country 20 years ago. I'm from Dutch origin, Países Bajos, under the sea level, under the level of the sea. And I was always traveling a lot and learning a lot of languages and cultures. At a certain point, I started as a peace observer in Palestine, Israel. David knows all about this. And I really loved that way of being present in a country and helping people, protecting their construction, peace construction, and their rights, the human rights of nature. And then I learned about the presence of peace brigades in Colombia. And I thought, wow, must be such an incredible experience in this country that has been in war for more than 55 years now. So in 2002, I decided to become a peace brigade in Chocó, which is one of the most mega biodiverse regions of this country. It's next to Panama, and it's like a incredible rich part of the country where a lot of multinationals and a lot of armed actors are present up till now. And I learned so much about what it means to be in war in a country where the earth and the rivers and the woods and the minerals are so rich that all of the eyes of the world are focused on them to grab it. So I stayed there for 1.5 years, accompanying Afro-Colombian community and learning about courage and learning about perseverance and learning about suffering and fear, loneliness, being stigmatized as guerrilleros. We were there sitting with the Bible. There were a lot of religious people and poetry of Benedetto, in the evenings around a candle to give us hope and maintain our spirits high. And after that deep experience, I just invented myself almost every year a voluntary mission to come back to Colombia and do some reporting, accompany solidarity missions, until I discovered in 2008 for the first time the work that reconnects. And I'm so honored that Joanna is assisting and listening to this story again. And it was such a revelation for me. It was such a possibility to bring together my spiritual search and my political and social and ecological activism. And it was the first time I could really cry and feel the pain deeply of what I had witnessed in Palestine, in India, and especially in Colombia. So from that time on, I was just dreaming about how can I bring this powerful transformational work to Colombia. And that's what I did from 2013. And I will tell you a bit more about that later on. I give the word to Hector so he can present himself also.
Thank you, Elena, and thank you to all of you for being with us today, so we can share this story. This is one of the many, many beautiful children that Joanna Macy has given birth to. So it's great to see you, my dear, and to give you all our love. Elena and I are very lucky. We really, every time that we do a laboratory, as we call them, or Re-Conectando, we always start with beauty, because we are so lucky to be doing this in some of the most beautiful places on earth. Colombia is the second most biodiverse country in the planet. And we have the luxury of finding the places where the mother's womb is still pristine, so it can heal us and give birth to the new world that is coming through. But also, every time that we start the work, we start, for example, with the story that Elena just shared about this young Embera girl that was raped by 7 men from the Colombian army. This morning, we woke up with 6 new leaders assassinated, 2 of them from Cauca, where this group of children come from. All of them peasants, indigenous people, and Afro-Colombians. All of them the people who are defending their territory. We have learned that because of the war, Colombia still has a lot of pristine territories. And that means that as we take the landmines out of the earth, out of the soil, we also see the drones of the big corporations that feed most of the countries that you come from, including ours. The drones of the big corporation looking at the land, looking at the rivers to poison, looking at the mountains to decapitate and exploit. So Elena came here 20 years ago with Peace Brigades. 30 years ago, I was leaving Colombia because I wanted to continue living. I wasn't clear why. What was going to happen with me, but I left because of the political violence in Colombia, in Medellin, that at the time was considered the most violent city in the world. And I was tired of burying friends. Who were these friends? Not even leftist people. These friends were artists, were intellectuals, were teachers, were people like me who had been tortured for being students. So I felt that there was no reason for me to simply die and not even know why or by who. So I left, and I ended up in the United States. That was the last place in the world that I wanted to be. It was the empire. It was the evil empire. It didn't take me more than 2 days to fall in love with an American woman, because that's how the heart is. And then fall in love with the American people that were very different to the American government, and still are. And to learn also about myself. I left Colombia terribly wounded, filled with hatred, with anger, with despair. And I left when I was 28 years old, and I lived out of Colombia for 28 years. I wasn't doing the math. This realization came afterwards. But when the peace process began, when the dialogue in Cuba between the Colombian FARC guerrilla, the oldest in the world, and the government, and it looked like this time, there had been 7 attempts prior to this dialogue, but this time it looked like something different was happening. And one of the many reasons, but in my opinion, the most important one, is that for the first time, victims had been invited to the dialogue. And our dear friend, Father Francisco de Ruta, we're going to mention more, who inspired also this project. Francisco de Ruta took 60 victims to that process. And that changed completely the dialogue, because the victims all told the army, the government, the army and the guerrilla, they said, you don't get out of here, you don't get out of this table until you find peace, because this cannot continue. And they did that after they described the most horrendous stories of abuse. That inspired me to decide to return to Colombia. And I was very lucky. Like 10 years ago, Joanna invited me to one of her wonderful trainings for colored people. I haven't met anyone who is not colored, but in the United States, we are divided between colored people and those without that much colored people. But anyway, but it was beautiful to be part of that process. I was also going through one of the worst moments in my life. I live those moments every time I end up a relationship. So I could not remember much of what I learned from Joanna and the team. But then when I came back to Colombia and met Helena and her devotion to the work that reconnects, I was really, really connecting. And right now there are roots coming out of my soil, of my feet. You know, I was uprooted for many years, traveling around the world. And then I came back, and now I have a piece of land where I can wait to finish this meeting and go and plant something else, to find an excuse to move another piece of, another matica, another plantula, and eat from the soil. It's the most healing thing I ever done. And Re-Conectando has really provided me with the most beautiful opportunity to bring everything that I have learned in the world, and to now hopefully bring healing. I left wounded, now I come back with all these incredible medicines that I have been able to find in the world, among them the work that reconnects, and we'll talk more about the other medicines that we are using. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to share with you. There is so much that I had no idea, but Elena is the one who always guides us into where we're going. So Elena.
Thank you, Hector, for this piece of jazz. We like to play jazz together. And yes, I think it's a good moment to meet each of you with some other person in this group, and to share a little bit, do a little exercise which is called open sentences, where we give you 2 sentences and you just complete them in a spontaneous way, and in that way to meet someone else of this group and hear what is their vision, what is their feeling about Colombia. When I tune, the sentence would be, when I tune into Colombia, the first images that arise are whatever comes up for you. So we're going to send you to breakout rooms. You will meet with someone else, magic. And then we have a second sentence, and that's telling the reason why reconnecting to the earth, not only in Colombia, but also where I live myself, feels essential to me, is because. So those two sentences, you just, one of the two starts, completes the sentence during 1 minute, then goes on to the next, and then you change roles. And we will send you the sentences to the breakout rooms, and Joe will call you back to the plenary after that, so we can share again. Is that all right?
Lovely. So, and for the people who are watching the recording, now's a great time to pause it and just take a moment to do that. And for those of you going to breakout rooms, the questions are in the chat. And when you go into the breakout room, your chat will disappear, but you can reopen it and those questions will still be there, or those sentences. Okay, so here we go. You're going to get an invitation on your screen, and you can just run off to your breakout room and click on that invitation. Okay, everybody's back now.
Very good.
Good. Not enough time to share, I read from Kalu. Oh, I'm sorry, Kalu. I know, it's always too short. Yeah. Anyway, you will have some more time. You will come back together in another breakout room session. We will share a little bit more about, okay, how did Re-Conectando start in Colombia? So as I told from the start, this country has been known war for centuries, actually. It's like it never stopped. But the official figures, the last war is already during 55 years. And supposedly we are in a peace process since 2016, but really it's very, very fragile. As we said in the beginning, last night, 7 more leaders, social and environmental leaders, were killed again. So no, it's not a country in peace, and we all know that building peace takes centuries. Not decades. So it's, the important thing is to maintain us in this intention. But maybe, you know, the root of this war is exclusion. After colonization, you're well aware that colonization in all of the world has been a cause of inter-ethnic violence, of oppression of the ancestral people. The Afro-Colombians, 20% of the 42 million Colombians are Afro-Colombian, and 2% of this land is indigenous people from more than hundreds ethnicities. It's really amazing. But they have been excluded in a terrible way. There's a deep-rooted racism in this country. Racism, violence against women, violence against everyone who has a different way of looking at reality. I feel that there is a lot of, you know, rigidness in the way you can look at reality, and especially people living on the countryside, the peasants, the farmers. They're the people who have been excluded from power, who have been displaced from their lands. It's 7 million people at least who have been displaced from their homeland. And this was one of the reasons why I felt that the work that Reconnects could be so powerful over here, because this rupture, the breaking the relationship with your land is breaking up all parts of your life, you know, your knowledge, your dignity, your source of inspiration and spirituality, your food, your water. When you end up in Bogota, in the suburbs of Medellin or Barranquilla, you're no one. You're ending up in complete misery many times, and poverty. That is real poverty. So yeah, I felt it was so important to imagine the work that reconnects here. And you know, when, I don't know, when you tune into Colombia, if the guerrilla of the FARC was one of the images that was coming up. In general, that's what happens. Very few people know about the paramilitary or the army, but really we have, let's say, three armed actors. We had three armed actors. The guerrillas, there are several guerrillas. And then you have the paramilitary, who are the right-wing citizens that seized arms and started combating, let's say, the guerrilla, but really they started fighting against people who had other ideas and who were just claiming their rights. And the paramilitary worked together with the army. They did the dirty work, let's say. It's a story we know of many, many countries, but here it has been incredibly painful. And I remember that on the one hand, I've always been so amazed about this incredible natural wonder, this magia salvaje, this wild magic of Colombia. And at the same time, looking at rivers, knowing that how many bodies, how many corpses in pieces have been thrown into these rivers and have been transported and eaten. How much blood in all those forests, how much drugs have been cultivated. You know, drugs has really fueled this war. So there's a lot to say about war in Colombia, but I think most important, what unites us here is how can we bring hope to a country, a wounded country like Colombia. And that's when I started in 2013 with the first workshop. I had already a lot of contacts, and Francisco de Roo, who is the president of the Truth Commission today, he was a friend since 2001, and he was one of the first one to come to my workshop, which I was facilitating with a Colombian friend, Felipe Medina at the time. And he was so impacted, so moved by what he was going through in the spiral of the work that reconnects, which goes through gratitude and then honoring our pain for the world, honoring our pain for our culture, our community, our own bodies, so violated in this country. And then seeing with new eyes the beauty, the richness of this land, the possibilities, our interconnection with all living beings, to then going forward with new hope, with new courage and a feeling of solidarity. And from the start, we have been bringing together victims, leaders, at the time, not ex-combatants, that's what we started doing afterwards, but we always brought together like an arco iris, like a rainbow of people from higher classes, lower classes, all these colors. I'm sure I'm getting red at the end of this webinar. But already listening to the stories, you know, of people, displaced people and people from north of Bogota, who are in general the richer people, was amazing. It was such a healing process. And Francisco de Roo, at the time already a peace worker, a Jesuit priest, he decided to help us connecting to important social, indigenous, environmental leaders. So we've been running like every year. I would take 1 or 2 months from my holidays and from Belgium, where I was living. I was working in the European Union as a translator at the time. And I would go to Colombia and do more workshops in all parts of the country. And every time it was incredible how this connection to the earth, you know, with this connection to a greater story, to something that would offer us a perspective beyond our own suffering, not only because we could see that the earth was also a victim of the war in Colombia, but to see the magic and the healing power, the soul of Colombia, expressing herself through its exuberant nature, how this was helping us to come together and understand that if we wouldn't walk in truth and dignity and beauty together, this would all disappear one day. This would, if we wouldn't unite in taking care of Colombia, you know, who would do it? So I really felt, wow, this is something I have to continue. And so when the magic of life again happening, when Francisco, my friend Francisco, was named, was chosen to be the president of the Truth Commission in 2018 after the peace process started, I almost said to him, joking, well, okay, so now we're going to accompany the Truth Commission with our Re-Conectando workshops. But I was almost, you know, I was living in Bogota, in Brussels, in my eco-village. I had left the European Union. I was happily doing my things over there, the workshops. But he took my offering serious. He said, wow, I think that's a great idea. So he started knocking on doors, donors, international cooperation. Hey, we have an incredible proposition here. What about opening up this looking for truth to a dimension much greater than just the human part? What about really listening to the earth and bringing people together in the womb of Mother Nature? So that's how it all started in 2018. And it has been an incredible, innovative process. I think there's no Truth Commission in the world, we've been checking this, that has included this ecological dimension, that has included that the earth is also victim of an armed conflict, but also a teacher, a healer. So I think we really are opening new pathways for this powerful work. And maybe Hector, you want to share a little bit more about what are the basics of Re-Conectando and how we all went about it, what we included.
Thank you, Elena. Yeah, there is so much that we can share. I will try to summarize the main elements that we are combining in this work. Elena just described a few of the characteristics of the Colombian conflict. Is the longest in South America, is one of the longest in the world, in history. When I was working with hospice work, and being a midwife of people that were going into death, is when I learned the most about life, to appreciate life. When I was seeing that last breath, that eternal last breath, and then there was nothing there. When I work in prisons in the United States, I learned a lot about freedom. When I was able to leave after the workshop, and these beautiful people would remain there sometimes for life. And these were young people condemned for life because of the 3 strikes law, etc. I learned a lot about freedom. Colombia, I feel, because of the history we have with war and what war does to the human soul, we are somehow invited to learn a lot about peace. I mentioned a paradox that war has kept Colombia as one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. So far, is another paradox, the peace process has created the worst conditions. The peace process has the biggest victim of this peace process so far has been nature, because deforestation has increased 3 times. The disappearance of species in the Amazons. So what I hope that we can convey to the Colombian people with our project through the Truth Commission and hopefully through meetings like this, is that Colombia is not only important for Colombians. Colombia is important for the world right now. Colombia has the seed of what could be the renovation of life on Earth. If we are able to connect the Amazons from Brazil to Colombia, Ecuador, etc., with the Andean Cordilleras that cross Colombia, we could create a corridor for life. In our mythologies, in most of the indigenous people that we know, they talk about Chiribiquete, which is the largest national park, tropical national park in the world. If we could connect, that is the place for the souls of all the animals. Whales go to die there. Lions and elephants, we don't have lions and elephants here, their souls go to Chiribiquete. I believe that. I truly believe that. I have seen it in my dreams. We feel that our job with Re-Conectando is to invite 20 people into Mother Earth, into the womb, and we use it as a tomb for the things that have died. We bury them there. We ask the crystalline rivers that we work with to cleanse our bodies, to clean our bodies. We put mud in them. We create rituals, healing rituals, and then lay on the waters to clean that. And we do that because we also know that we see Re-Conectando as a rite of passage. A rite of passage from this world that destroyed nature, that destroyed each other, that destroyed our soul, because it has disconnected from life itself. It has disconnected from the mother. And then this is like a liminal space where we experience nature in the most beautiful, profound way. We give ourselves to nature, and hopefully the new world is given. The nature becomes the womb for the world that wants to come through. We are seeing now with COVID-19 an invitation to the world, to humanity, to do that. We are now in a liminal space because the old world no longer exists. We're in this place of uncertainty. We don't know where we are going. And then the new world is coming through us if we are open, if we are reconnected. If our souls, personal souls, connect to the soul of the earth, to the Alma Mundi, I think we will be able to give birth to this new world. And that's what we have experienced in so many ways in Re-Conectando. Because our spinal cord is the spiral of the word that reconnects. And I will assume that most of you have heard of it, and if you haven't, it's open source. It's a gift to the world by this wonderful woman who I can see here. It's a gift for all of us. And in my case, I came to this work through the world of theater, and there are beautiful friends here, David Diamond and Dominic and other people who we use social theater to create spaces for imagination. We look at the world and the world's problems that we don't know how to resolve. And then we use theater to imagine what can we do about it, not to complain about it. No, if you don't like the world that you see, then what do you want? So through playing, through the body, we explore alternatives to the world that we want to create. So we see with new eyes and then we act. But the other aspect is that theater, like most arts, is simply the new word, the new way we call ritual. Ritual is the place where humanity heals. So we also design rituals in a pan-cultural way using information from many different sources. And we create rituals on the spot, in the moment, that respond to the needs of the moment. Most often, the stories of rape, the stories of abuse, the stories of massacres, the stories of displacement, all these losses, all these ancestors that are always called during the truth mandala or all the other moments that we create. And then we bury them on the soil, or we burn them with the fire, or we ask the river to take them. And then we are rebirthed, we are reborn. We're creating more and more rituals in which we die before we die, in which we let go of what no longer works, what no longer serves us, so something new can be born from the ashes. of that. These 5 days are the most intense days that a person can ask for, in terms of the beauty and in terms also of how we get to know each other, because we bring people from all the armies, from the guerrilla, the paramilitary, and the military, who never thought that they would be together in a place. We also bring their victims, people who had been victimized by all these groups. So we create spaces for impossible dialogues. Not dialogues between impossible people, because that doesn't exist, but dialogues that otherwise could not take place. And the beautiful thing is that who hosts these dialogues is Mother Nature. Because as you know, in Mother Nature, there are no enemies. We never see them. In Mother Nature, life and death coexist, and death gives birth to life. Here, also, when we tell each other stories, most of these ex-combatants said, we are peasants. You and I are peasants. And we are killing each other not for our own interests. We are destroying life. We hopefully will be able to share some of the stories, but the one that comes to me in this moment is a guerrilla man who came to one of our laboratories, said to us, listen, I spent 37 years literally in the jungle, literally. And in these 5 days, for the first time, I have been able to see nature. I have been able to ask permission from the river. I have been able to see a tree. I cut many trees, not even for deforesting, just to use them. I killed many animals, not for killing, for eating, but I never asked them for permission. And in these 5 days, thanks to the work that reconnects, I now see nature as a living being. So those are some of the, I mean, there's so many miracles that happen in these simple 5 days that are 5 days of Kairos time, 5 days of eternity, not 5 days of chronological time. So this is the combination. I'm all over the place, but this is what happens when you only have 2 minutes to talk about a very complex thing. What we hope is to give you enough a taste, so we can continue talking about this wonderful project that we're so privileged to be part of. I will leave it there, Elena, so because I want us to have a dialogue, hopefully sometime soon.
Thank you for those insights, Hector. Yeah, it's really fascinating what can happen. You know, maybe a difference from normal workshops we're organizing in Europe, for example, or other parts of the world. People register themselves for these workshops. You know, they heard about the work that reconnects. They want to go through the spiral. But we are actively seeking in the region those people, leaders, victims, artists, ex-combatants who would make possible these impossible dialogues. And that's, of course, quite a challenge to how do you invite people who really are very much afraid still of their ex-combatants, or ex-combatants still very much they have a lot of difficulties to acknowledge and take responsibility for their crimes. But the beautiful thing is that when they accept the invitation, and it's all paid for them, so they don't have to pay. That's a huge issue, of course. But when they come to the circle, no one knows who is who. So they all arrive just as human beings in this moment of Colombia, this moment of the history. They know that something is going on. They know there is an intention of healing and empowerment and truth speaking. But it is really, they choose themselves the moment in which they reveal their identity, in which they reveal their wounds or their crimes, or and it's amazing. Well, I don't know if every one of you has gone through the spiral of the work that reconnects, but there is this incredible truth mandala, which is the part where we really honor our pain, our anger, our fears. And it's so moving to see that also those people who have committed sometimes the most horrible crimes, when they start speaking about their youth, about how their parents were massacred, how they were humiliated, how they were displaced from their land, you can see the fragility, the vulnerability in each and every one. And what happens is that really they become human again. They reconnect to their souls. They reconnect to the story of the other, sitting in this circle of the truth mandala. And it's so, trust is maybe the thing that has gone lost most in this country. There's so much distrust, even here where I'm living in Bogota in an apartment, you know, the neighbors don't trust each other. And I'm like the bridge. I'm talking to each and every one of them, and I'm trying to fix here and there. But, you know, you go on the streets and you leave your bike with a lock and everything, and oh, don't do that. And so how do you build trust in this country? And that we have all these simple exercises from theater or the work that reconnects, like walking together, the blind walk, you know, the blind walk, people walking 2 by 2, taking each other to nature. One of them is blindfolded, the other just takes the hand or the shoulder and offers these experiences to touch a plant, a tree, the ground. But that's, it sounds incredibly easy, but that's such a big thing in this country. I mean, this could be a victim and ex-combatant walking together. And then, you know, before we start the Truth Mandala, there's something very profound, which is the theater of the unspeakable, which is from the theater of oppressed, where people go into the memory of their bodies, go into the memories of war, and represent the horrors of what they've been going through. And they can be or the victim or the one who has committed a crime. You're free to take whatever position you want. And the other half of the group is going through this museum and watching and feeling and tuning into this horror and seeing how many expressions of pain and suffering and fear there are without judgment. You know, it's really, people have been saying afterwards, it's so incredible that you bring us together in a space of no judgment, complete compassion, complete equality. We also, as facilitators, you know, we're no gurus at all. That's the beauty of the work that reconnects, the beauty of theater. We vibrate with them, we cry with them, we're angry with them, we wash the dishes with them, we sleep together, we sleep, I mean, we're in the same space. So, and that's in a society where there's such a big differences and such divisions and polarizations. It's very healing to go to live actually 5 days of peace, of how it is to live together in the womb of Mother Earth, being treated as a dignified human being who can start all over again. So I think that has been very, very, very powerful. And one of the, I don't know if you've seen the video that we shared, you can watch it afterwards again. You will see images of the peace walk, which is a walk where we have this very fine thread, which is the thread of the peace, acuerdo de paz. Acuerdo is accord, no? It's a very fine thread right now. And we have to sustain it all. It's not the government or the Truth Commission or the leaders that will bring this peace process forward. We have to sustain it all. And how can we walk together despite our differences and walking together into the dark? Because really there's a lot of darkness going on, and we have to be those lights walking into the dark without fear. And so we do, blindfolded, we walk and we put our hands on the shoulder of a victim, of an ex-combatant, of an artist, of someone who has a completely different way of living. where we trust each other and we go crossing bridges that are broken and we mend them, and we tend each other a hand, and we help. And so it's amazing, all things that, you know, this getting together of wounded people from all parts, what happens when you really open up to your soul, your body, and the body of the earth. So maybe with those words, because of course we can share so much, but I think it's nice for you also to share about truth speaking and how that is for you in these times. So we would love to offer a new breakout session. This time you will meet 2 pairs in a room, 4 people. And I would just love you to share around this question. How is it for you in these times of deep crisis to speak your truth in your family, in your community, in your circles? How is it for you to speak your deep truth in this time of crisis? And just take each of you a turn. We will have 10 minutes. Is that true? Yeah, we will take 10 minutes. I think it's good to share a bit, and then we will call you back again over here.
Okay, great. This is the prompt here, and I posted it also in the chat. So you can reopen your chat when you go there. And now we can go off to our rooms. Okay.
Let's
Enjoy
start
your
running.
Enjoy.
You sit still.
So let's move.
Colombia is move, is dance, is rhythm. Yeah.
And the planet is moving.
Oof.
This is yep.
One I heard it's called the Great Turning.
Oh, is that it?
That's why we're feeling so shaky right now.
That's what it's called, the Great Turning. It's not going to be smooth. Good, they're back.
Hector, if you want to guide us into this sharing circle.
Okay, good. Wow. Welcome back, everybody. I love to see that you're smiling. So that's a good sign, I guess. We're going to share, every time that we do something in Re-Conectando, we do what we call the harvest. And there are so many different ways to do that. We, as you know, we are in Chronos time. So Chronos keep is relentless. We would love to give voice to you, to hear your voices also. So maybe if we can do a harvest of 10 minutes, and then we can share a little bit more of some of the things that we have not been able to share with you about the project. And then we have some question and answer. Anyway, is that okay with everybody?
And some pictures.
Yeah, and then we'll show you some images, because we think that images can speak better than we can. So if anyone wants to comment something about the harvest that you just got, and let's try to keep it short so we can hear as many people as we are able to. So if anyone can raise your hand and just put your audio, we would love to hear you. Anything about the harvest, what you just shared, what is moving, or anything else. All right.
I have something.
Go, please.
Okay, so our group had 3 elders and 1 younger person who ended up, in my opinion, teaching us elders something very, very important, that speaking our truth is really a privilege, because many people in the world are just surviving, and speaking their truth can endanger their lives, and how important, if our voice can be heard, that we should use it for people who can't, and to respect those who are just trying to survive. So that was a wonderful lesson, Kalu. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And that's one of the things that we do in Re-Conectando, is to listen to the elders, and the elders listen to the youth. So thank you for bringing that. Somebody else? Yes, Joe? Lois Casers? From The Hague. Is that you? Did you raise your hand? Your body did, so I'm going to call you.
Luz.
My love, I believe in
Claudia.
the body. I believe in the body. No,
You're
but
unmuted.
My body tells me.
okay, Claudia. Claudia, go.
It was a short one, and it's actually Dominic's.
From the
wisdom.
UK.
We were 3 people, and Dominic from Germany came up with this nugget, which was actually, it was about truth doing, not so much telling. Is in this period really following, our bodies knew what was the good thing to do and what it didn't want to do. Yeah, truth doing.
Beautiful. Thank you. And we work with the body all the time. Yes, I agree with that totally. Who else wants to share? The problem that there are several. Okay, anyone else? Just put your mic and let us hear you.
They're all shy. They're listening to the birds.
Oh, hola, saludos.
Hola.
Tío. Hola. I was so loving what the group shared. Laura from Colombia and Ana Maria and Adela. Laura mentioned this. One of the themes that I caught was, que no se duerman, that she learned from Joanna, which is inspiring to me, because to be the spokesperson often as a person of Mexican descent in the States here, to speak on behalf of a lot of folks is very, like, in the body. Even right now, I'm like, ooh, it's scary. You have to have the courage, and you have to have some sleep time. I think Ana Maria mentioned, like, sometimes I feel like, don't fall asleep, wake up. And I love that message that she shared with me today. So I'm just like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm facing the racism and how it's connected to economics here, and having the truth to go, okay, this is my only thing that I know. And like you said, it feels right in the body, but it's scary. It's scary. And I shared with them that to enter those dialogues, I have to have compassion and love. I cannot do it without that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank
Laura
you.
is part of our Re-Conectando team. She has been wonderful. I'm so happy to have her in our group. Thank you, Laura, for being there.
Thank you. Somebody else?
I guess I can echo that of this is just a magical space, and I want to express my gratitude for the work that you're doing. I attended a class of Joanna at CIIS like 2 years ago, and this is just, I love this kinds of synchronicities. And yeah, but I was also sharing in the smaller group how challenging it is for me to not go back to sleep, and how in the midst of crisis and despair, it's just so much easier to just check out, and how much effort and like willingness really requires to be present and saying yes to what is. And so I just really want to appreciate like this space and this time, because it helps me reconnect. So yeah, wanted to say that. So thank you.
Where are you living, Ana Maria? Where are you living in Colombia?
So I'm in Barichara.
Barichara.
Well, outside Barichara, like 3 kilometers away from Barichara. Yeah.
Oh, good to know. I can recommend you a friend over there, Felipe Medina.
Oh, I know him.
You know him? Yeah,
of
good.
course.
He was my co-facilitator for 4 years.
Okay, no, and I'm with Hector in a collective trauma group, and so that's why I heard about this group today. So yeah.
Good.
Okay, I would like to share from our group. Thank you, Maria. I'm also Colombian, and we at our group we were from 4 continents. So it is Netherlands, it is South Africa, it is USA, and it is Colombia. And so we shared, but it was very interesting because all of us were I mean, the three of us were trying to put all these things into education for children, the other one for education for adults for the universities. And there was as some of us that were kind of despaired with these travels and these times. And but it was very, I mean, we felt so nice sharing among all of us. And I just shared that I'm so happy today to get to meet Joanna. I never ever thought that I was going to meet you here, because I was dreaming to go and participate of one workshop, but I don't know when would that time come. And this is a real privilege. We're here in a group together with Hector, working on trauma, and my bond is the spirituality and connectivity. I live in a natural place here in a reserve, and I really want to put this reserve in hands of Helena and Hector to get to see how to move this place, because I've always known that this place is for that, for healing, because nature is everything. So happy today. Thank you to all of you.
Oh, thank you. Gracias, Martica.
We were going to meet Elena tomorrow.
Yeah.
Was our day together here.
Yeah, we will meet soon.
We will meet
promise.
Okay. Somebody else? Maybe we have time for one more, and then we continue the journey. Yeah. Uh-oh. Kalu, I saw you. I believe in the body, so your body says, I want to talk, and your mind says, no. Kalu, tell us.
I was just playing with my hair, but I was thinking about sharing or not, because I feel very shy sometimes.
That's okay.
So yeah, in our group, this reflection came about, for me, how difficult it is to share and speak my truth. And because I regularly don't do it out of fear of consequences. So it was very interesting to listen to all these three amazing women sharing their experiences, particularly when it came for them no longer being afraid or not being afraid of speaking their truth. So what came out for me was, this reflection about how long, do I really want to wait until I reach like older age for me to be able to speak my truth freely. So that's where I'm at right now. And even right now in this group, in this circle, in the spirit of truth and honesty, I was like, when we started sharing with the two first questions, I was like, oh, maybe I should just drop and come back later once the exercise is done. And then I connected with these amazing people, and yeah, it's being, in a way, kind of like, how do you say, exercising my flexibility and willingness to share. So thanks for providing that space.
Wow, Kalu.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Beautiful.
And I know you're giving voice to many people, not only in this circle, but in many circles that we have not been able to speak truth. And the beautiful thing about the work that reconnects is that creates those spaces for truth telling. And through truth telling, we have seen reconciliation happen. We have seen people ask for forgiveness right there. We are not promoting anything, but it happens. There are programs dedicated to forgiveness, no, we don't say any of that, and it happens. When someone opens their soul, the soul wants to heal. So when someone has the courage that you just had, thanks for accepting the invitation, it opens the river that is there collapsing, drowning. We are drowning in it, and then the truth comes out and the healing takes place. The Truth Commission also is seeking a reconciliation. and no repetition. And for us, no repetition can only happen if we heal. If we don't heal, we keep reproducing the conditions for the woundedness. If we don't heal, we kill. We kill more. And it's true of the individual, and it's true of the communities, it's true of countries. So thank you for that. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. So, Elena.
Maybe, yeah.
Take us to the next one.
Maybe we'll share a little bit more about Re-Conectando, these laboratories of truth and reconciliation in the womb of Mother Earth. We were just sharing with Joanna how much nature is informing our work, our experiences. And as we told, Colombia's magic, and we're discovering every time new sacred places. And there was one place in Caquetá, which is next or close to the Amazon region, where we discovered an incredible nature reserve that is being guarded, that is being protected by people like you and me, not an institution, just people who love nature. And they showed us literally a womb in the womb of Mother Earth, an underground cave. Well, that's mostly the case. An underground cave with the river flowing through it, and the river going through different caves until it ended up in a big womb from stone. It was all it was really the color of the womb as far as I can remember. But also this amazing thing of the river flowing through it. And this guide, the guide of this nature reserve, he invited us to an incredible ritual of all the people that were in the workshop, ex-combatants, victims, leaders, indigenous. He took us 4 by 4 into this womb of Mother Earth. We had to swim in the dark. We had to go from one little cave to the other. It was really like, oh, wow, surrendering and your fear, it's really scary. Sometimes it was really awkward. You have to push through. And then at a sudden moment, whoops, we went into this big womb, which was like 3 meters diameter. And he asked us to close our eyes, and he was actually stopping the river to flow. We afterwards we understand it was with his body. He was actually tapping the river, but you were there with your eyes closed. He all of a sudden the water stopped flowing. You were in the water because it was filled, and he was playing the flute, these magic Colombian flutes, and connecting you to your life, to your intention for rebirthing, connecting to what do you want to leave here, what fears, what anger, what hatred, how can you rebirth again? And the sun was shining in above, it was filtering through the woods, through the trees, into the water. And then after this minutes that were like kairos, it was suspended time. All of a sudden, his body was untapping the water again, and we were all flowing, overflowed by water, crystal water. And Lo was like, oh, we're going to drown. But no, we were holding hands, the 4 of us, and wow, what is this? Mother Nature is really rebirthing us. And after this deep moment of reconnecting with our intention, he would take our hands and guide us through these canals, really narrow, surrendering again. And then what? We were thrown into the world, thrown into nature. Some of them needed a cesarean because their body was too big, but most of them natural rebirthing. And it was like, wow, my God, Mother Nature really has this power in this land. And I know there are many places in our Mother Earth where we can do this kind of rituals. but it has been so inspiring to see how nature has been guiding us and how people look at her with new eyes and discover that when they connect to the story of Mother Earth and to the care we need to have to share together, this reconciliation, this forgiveness where Hector was talking about, it became so natural. People, what Joanna told us many times, take care, look out when you do the work that reconnects, because it's eros. It's thanatos and eros. It's death and love. When people take down their masks, when they reconnect with their vulnerability, with their souls, with their power, you fall in love. You fall in love with yourself again, with life, with the other. And despite the incredible suffering in this country, there is also such a power of life. There's such a vitality in this country. And you offer 5 days to one of these feminine leaders, this indigenous man, these people who have been resisting and struggling and defending all their lives. You offer them this laboratory. Wow. They live again. They see again the light. They embrace life like never before. So this has been incredible. And we have to tell you about the young sprouts, the semillas de Re-Conectando, because that's a part we can't omit over here. Hector, do you want to tell about that?
Yeah, no, just to complement that story, there are many stories like that. And the beauty is that we find in each place where we go that the richness of the place and the medicines of the place. In another place, there was a Reiki school. And after doing the truth mandala, to receive Reiki was a blessing. In other places, they do peace dances. So we did peace dances. In other places, they had temazcales. So we did temazcales, to die and be reborn. And these places in nature, what the capacity of humanity is to create meaning. Because he has been using this womb, literal womb with clitoris and lips for ecotourism. But we added the mythological aspect. We talk a lot about mythos because we have lived in the world of logos, but mythos is what creates meaning. And mythos is connected to the story. So we also use myths and traditional stories from different places to illuminate, because humanity has been here before. The myths and the stories are storehouses of wisdom. So we bring them and each person connects their own experience to that. So that's another aspect. And then we already mentioned the elders. We honor the elders. Some people come here to reignite. Some people who have dedicated their lives and they are happy just to still be alive. But here, the young people see them as elders and honor them as elders. So we do rituals to honor them. But then they also get reignited. Some people said you did surgery and I didn't know why, because they come, they can hardly walk or they are overweight or whatever, and they get rejuvenated by the young, and the young people get connected. They see people who have been doing this fight, this struggle for many years, but it's a love story. Yeah, it's between heaven and earth, it's between life and death, and it's between spirit and soul. It's an act of love. We are always making love. And when you hear the story of another person, then you cannot hate them anymore. It's impossible to hate someone when you hear their story, because it not only humanizes them, it humanizes us. And I said this as someone who harbored hate in my heart for many years against the paramilitaries who killed my brother, against the military who tortured me, against the guerrilla who kidnapped many of my family members. But then to be able now to listen to them and see the beauty of these people and see their woundedness also, and see that we're all traumatized. Most of us have been born in a world that is traumatized, what we want to bring is collective healing. We all want to heal. So one of the things that we do in the laboratories is to see the people who most resonate with what we're doing, who are doing their own work, and we call them seeds of Re-Conectando. So these are people that we choose 2 or 3 in each laboratory. We could choose 10 or 12, but the resources are not enough. But we choose 2 or 3, and then we continue doing trainings with them. So they are all now in love with the word that reconnects. They are training with theater. They are talking about ritual, and they bring their own medicine because we don't have the answers. We only have an open source, beautiful, powerful methodology that is feeding also in ancestral knowledge and ancestral wisdom. That is why it's still here. And we just provide these methodologies to the seeds, and they bring their own style, their own personality, their own medicine, because we all believe that each person is in the world because they bring medicine. We are not here to consume. We became consumers because we were told that we didn't have anything, that we came into the world as tabula rasa, as empty slates. No, as clean slates. No, we all came to the world carrying medicine that the world needs and carrying gifts that the world needs today, right now. So that's the other thing that we hope to infuse the experience is with the sense of urgency. You don't need to wait for another fucking PhD. I'm sorry, that's a technical word, or another experience of I don't know what workshop or what methodology. No, you have what it takes for you to give your gifts to the world now, today, because the world is urgent. So because of that, I need to confess this, we contracted a very wonderful guy. It's called COVID-19. And he has done something that we could not have done it. I mean, he showed the world that we're all interconnected, that what happens to you affects me, what happens to me affects you, what happens to humans affects living beings, livings other than humans, and that the future is here right now, and that the present is to be present and to resignify all the woundedness of the past, and that we are all here to co-create, to co-participate in the ongoing creation of the world. The world is not ending. Certain kind of world has to end, that we can no longer go back to normal because it was never normal, that we are the parteros, the
midwives
of the new life. Show some pictures, Elena.
You can see why I love Hector and why I love working with Hector. Oh, thank you for this firework. Yeah, we will just give you 5 minutes. It's like a meditation. We will show some pictures so you get a sense of place, a sense of this magic. And there is a song, it's from a little music group here. It's called Espíritu Salvaje. And it's the wild spirit that is coming out of the forest and that is touching this aching body of ours, this aching body of nature, and how we can be reborn again. So Joe, let us start.
Okay, here we go.
sagrada luz. Espíritu salvaje que sales de la selva, envuélveme en tu vuelo, en tu sagrada luz. Mano sanadora del poder del cielo, toca con tus dedos el cuerpo dolorido. Mano sanadora del poder del cielo, toca con tus dedos el cuerpo dolorido. Tiro, tiro. Espíritu salvaje que sales de la selva, envuélveme en tu vuelo, en tu sagrada luz. Espíritu salvaje que sales de la selva, envuélveme en tu vuelo, en tu sagrada luz. Mano sanadora del poder del cielo, toca con tus dedos el cuerpo dolorido. Mano sanadora del poder del cielo, toca con tus dedos el cuerpo dolorido. Tiro, tiro. Mano sanadora del poder del cielo, toca con tus dedos el cuerpo dolorido. Mano sanadora del poder del cielo, toca con tus dedos el cuerpo dolorido. Tiro,
Wow. We hope that the images speak more clearly than we can. So Elena, should we do question?
Yeah.
You're enraptured, that's great. Sometimes this happens in workshops. Elena just goes like that. Most of the time I am completely lost and Elena starts on like, what the hell are you? So,
So it's nice to oh.
Thank you. So yeah, and
Yeah,
would
let's
love
have
to
some
hear you.
reactions, some questions.
Sí, Joanna.
Joanna, I will.
It's not a question, but I have to say it or I'll choke. I realize now that nothing will stop this work. And even you two could disappear tomorrow. And what I saw is nothing will stop it. You've taken it and you've given it into the peoples, all the different shapes and colors and languages of that exquisite country, so war-torn. I want to see a picture of Francisco Ruz sometime. I want to feel the gratitude in my heart for him. But now I see what's true elsewhere too. But somehow it took seeing these pictures to know that nothing will stop this work. Thank you.
I will share a picture of Francisco here in the chat. Can I put it in the chat or maybe wait? I will share.
Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you.
For your gift.
I will share a picture of Francisco. Yes. This is Francisco. Wonderful man. 75 and still going strong.
I have a question.
David Diamond.
Well, first, I just want to honor the power of what you're doing. I mean, Hector, I've known you for a long time, and I know how wonderful you are. But I just really want to honor the power of what the two of you are doing. You know, well, have you experienced being able to translate this work into a more northern climate? Because I think it would somehow change. And I'm curious because, you know, here I am in Canada, and a lot of this kind of work, I know that the sign that something's alive is that it changes and transforms. And I wonder how it transforms into more northern environments.
I can say something to that, but Hector, maybe you want to go
sure,
first?
Helena, sure.
Yeah. Well, you know, I started in Europe. I had 10 years with this work in Europe, and we've been blending it with the work of Bill Plotkin. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Animas Valley. It's like the School of Lost Borders. It's all these walks, wounded walks into nature, Gaia Refugio, disconnecting with the earth. So yes, we are already doing this kind of things in Europe. I'm not there anymore, but I know my colleagues do. But I really think we've been finding a blending, an exceptional blending over here, because it's a live process, and it depends on your medicine and, you know, the encounter of Hector's medicines, of mine, and of the medicines of the land and of the people here. It gives a special flavor, but you can create this in every place if you let it become alive and listen to the earth and what is the magic and the secrets and the soul of this place, and how can I surrender. I mean, Hector was a great teacher for me. He really invites me every time to listen and improvise, and I'm the one who's holding and having the overview and where we want to go. So it's every time it's un sancocho. It's a soup. It sounds better in Spanish.
Yeah.
All these ingredients so specific to the place, no?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I was wondering if anybody had specific examples of how it's transformed.
Yeah, David, obviously the work that reconnects has had a lot of experience in the North. It started in the United States and Europe, and Joanna has trained hundreds, thousands of people, and everybody else. So I think it's very new in the South. It's very new in Colombia, and what we hope is to feed the work that reconnects with our own colors, our own medicines, and eventually what I feel is happening more and more in the world, like in this conversation, is that we're going to be blending and learning from each other, because the woundedness is everywhere. The disconnection from our Mother Earth is everywhere, and the need to reconnect is everywhere. But also that we have these amazing methodologies. We also using dragon dreaming when we work with the communities. We're using Bill Plotkin. We're using the School of Lost Borders, which has an amazing bare bones of ritual. One of the most beautiful experiences, and I know they are very strong in Europe now as well.
Yeah,
it's a dialogue. It's a living dialogue. As your theater, David
yeah.
is the creator of living theater. So, and it's his own version of of something that was born in the South, in
Yeah.
Theater of the Oppressed. So you are the best. You can tell us the best story, Webon, about how.
I don't want to take up too much time, but I'm asking because I'm asked to participate in a lot of reconciliation work here in Canada.
Yeah.
And it looks very different. The texture of it is really different. And I'm looking for ways. You understand what I'm saying? That I think this is really powerful.
Yeah, it would be incredible to do that work with Mother Nature, which is our principle, is the nature has been a victim of the war, and this has not been formulated anywhere else that we know of. We wish, but it hasn't. But nature is also the big ancestral healer and the most ancient teacher. So how to do that reconciliation work with Native people using nature, not using, inviting, doing it in nature, in the entrails of the mother. But thank you for that question, which we don't have the answer, but it's a good living question. Thank you, David.
I'm just showing the picture of the 24 seeds, young sprouts of Re-Conectando, we're like a big family.
And in that group, there are ex-guerrillas, ex-paramilitares, victims from all the groups, LGBT, indigenous people, Afro-Colombian, and they all are carriers of powerful medicine in their territories. Do we have another comment or question? Yeah, Charlotte.
Yes, thank you. I don't want to be too long, but just to mention that I discovered Joanna through Liz from the Gaia Foundation. And I also am very moved to be in the same meeting and meeting Joanna today. I'm very grateful for that. So I'm a really, really newborn, perhaps the newest born of all of you. And it relates a bit to what we've said before, because I have experienced the work that reconnects, like in a European context with, you know, middle class white people who feel they need to reconnect to nature to, you know, heal themselves and personal development. But my concern is really, how do we link this perhaps more self-development work to social justice work? And with Liz, we are collaborating on a project in South Africa. And I'm a bit like you, Elena, with Colombia, and I'm really like drawn and have this big compassion for South Africa. And I've always wondered, because as Hector said, that there's a lot of initiatives around the work that reconnects in the North, but not too many in the South. So I was always interested by your experience in Colombia. And I was wondering actually if we could stay in touch, because my dream would be perhaps to sort of have an exchange visit, perhaps, to organize where perhaps African folks could come and experiment what you are doing there and get ideas and go through the process and then try also develop their own work in their places. So I would really much like to stay in contact, perhaps have your opinion on that and stay in contact to see if we could do something like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would be wonderful.
Yes. We want to learn from everywhere and share with everybody.
Yeah. I think it would be thinking after the mandate of the Truth Commission, because we will next year, if we can move again, because right now nothing is possible. But after in 2022, we might think of such a exchange experience. Would be wonderful to receive African people over here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
So I put my contact. I don't know. Then
Yeah,
I see how to get yours.
I just share our webpage. I just share our webpage, and you can contact us through that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dominic, go for it.
And I I also shared the terreveil.be.
Yeah.
That is the association I co-created in Belgium 10 years ago. And
them that I got to know you actually. I did my first workshop with Terreveil.
Good. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, Dominic.
Yeah, first, I really want to say thank you, and I'm so inspired since the beginning when you, Hector, went back to Colombia. I remember you've been here in Marburg in Germany. We did the workshop training, and then you shared with me that you're going back to Colombia after all these years of traveling. And I'm amazed to see how you've started to blend all the theater, the ritual, the work that reconnects, the Vision Quest work from the School of Los Borders, and it's just amazing after all these years seeing how you traveled the world and blending this together, bringing this together back home in Colombia now. And I don't know, there are so many questions or so much that I would love to talk about, but for now, I would like to ask both of you somehow together, like, how actually is Re-Conectando connected to the Truth Commission process? Like, what is the link? And you know, like I see this amazing work that is happening in the laboratories, and that in itself is powerful and would be enough already, right? But you shared that it is connected to the Truth Commission, to the committee, and so I would be interested in hearing how is that connection? What's happening?
Great
question. I think must be our latest one, our last one. You want to go or I go?
Let me start and then compliment. But Elena just shared how her connection, her relationship with Father Francisco de Rue was a very strong connection. It's relational, it's personal. And then talking with Francisco about how we could serve the Truth Commission. So we designed the project inspired by how could we be of service? How could we move the earth, the soil, so the Truth Commission could come to the territories and find people willing to hold containers for the work, the difficult work of the Truth Commission. Then now we ask them, they give us a territory that is in trouble, and we go there, we do a big mapping of leaders, people from the different factions that had been at war, victims, etc. We bring them together and they remain in the territory to continue not doing the work of Re-Conectando. Re-Conectando, we hope, will continue, as Joanna just predicted. So we will have to obey Joanna that this is the work for the rest of our lives. The Truth Commission is only 3 years. They only have a year and a half almost. But we are sensitizing people that the earth the nature has been also a victim. What has happened to the territories? You saw some images of the Council of All Beings that Elena insisted we needed to do. So and we're just beginning to bring the voices of other beings that had been killed, that had disappeared because of the war, and the importance of their voices to be heard in the peace process. We want to bring the Council of All Beings to the Truth Commission to tell their stories. And so we're working on that. I mean, there are many, many, many ways. A lot of the people that come to our workshop, we continue in connection with them, and most of them are their lives are in danger. So please, also, we will use all of you when any of these people disappear, because we want the world to say no, to ask for their lives to be respected. Elena came here, and because of that, many people are still alive. I am alive because international people came to Colombia when I was being held and tortured by the Colombian military. People that I never met saved my life and have saved the lives of many people in Africa, in Palestine, in many different places. So But maybe I will let you, Lena, to talk more about our connection. But
yeah,
for that question,
well, yeah, it's a very good question, Dominique, because what we're doing also is, you know, the Truth Commission has its delegation in Bogota, but then it has its truth houses all over the country, like 27 truth houses. And we're moving into these territories, and we invite 1 or 2 people working for the Truth Commission in the region, and they go through the spiral with us, with the victims, with the ex-combatants, who tell so deep truth, who share stories that they would never have shared if it was just in a testimony, you know, with an official of the Truth Commission. You know, when these artificial surroundings in an office or whatever, or in Zoom, you can never connect to these deep secrets, these deep wounds you have inside. So it was not only was it very healing for the officials of the truth houses to assist, to reconnect to themselves, to all the pain they've been hearing, all the pain they've been bearing, but also to, you know, share this space in Kairos, in the womb of Mother Earth, with these people. It has opened pathways, incredible trust. It has opened doors. It has created allies in the region for this Truth Commission. And it has, you know, it's the network, the rough weather network, where Joanna always talks about, the rough weather network for the future. They know that these people will be the allies for the non-repetition, for the living, the buen vivir, the living together. So this building of bridges and of trust and opening new doorways has been incredibly powerful. And they're really really excited with what we are doing. The non-anthropocentrical, it has been opening so many windows in their view of what is truth seeking and reconciliation.
And Re-Conectando is really a laboratory. We know that if you want to open the wound, you have to have a medicine. You have to carry medicine. And in the wound is the medicine. And they have seen how that can happen in a process that is deep, that holds a space for that. Because otherwise, and it has been documented in other truth commissions, that most people have said telling the truth has been the worst part of the whole history of because there was no place for them to heal. It's just open woundedness all over the place. This carried both things. It's let's open the wound to find the medicine. Yeah, and it's not that we are the medicine, it's everybody has the medicine. And we are talking about collective trauma and collective healing. How can we process all the deaths, all the losses from the displacement? We need to do it as a country. And we don't have the answer, but we are exploring alternatives to that. And then the other part is about creating the future, because it's not just about dwelling in the past and how horrible, and no, let's look at the past, re-signify to create the future. And that's where theater is so important, and dragon dreaming, and supporting the work of the organizations in the territories. Because we're also weaving or making visible the invisible threads that connect all these organizations to each other. Well, there's much more to say, but thank you. These are some aspects.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dominic.
There is obviously so much more to say. And for the sake of our mental and physical health being connected to the computer for this long, and for the commitment that we made to be here, it looks like this is the time to wrap it up for now. But we will send a follow-up email with contact information and with ways in which you can connect with the work that Helena and Hector are doing. And I just want to say thank you so much for this work and for having the wherewithal and the courage to come and share it with us here, so that it can go and seed and be, you know, sprouting up in all sorts of different places, like we can get from these questions at the end here. I'm gonna just give a quick thank you from the Work That Reconnects Network, and then we're gonna share a jingle that they've created. So let me do a quick thank you, and then you can have a few last words, and then we'll share the jingle so that people can move on. So thank you so much for being here, participating in the Work That Reconnects Network webinar and conversation series. And please visit our website at theworkthatreconnects.org to find out more information about this important work and upcoming webinars and conversation series. If you both want to say it.
It was great to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, for us, I think it's also very good to have these eyes from abroad, from outside, to re-signify also what we're doing, you know. We also just trying, and it's good to feel that this is something we need in many parts of the world. And to honor Joanna and all she has to bring to our lives.
Joanna, you have a lot of other lovers that you don't even know. Thank you so much for all of you for listening to us, and we hope to continue the conversation, and we wish you the best in all the beautiful work that you're doing everywhere. So the single is I think Elena does this so she can sing this song. We also want you to look at our webpage. Unfortunately, most of it is in Spanish. We're doing our best to translate. There are a couple of videos that have subtitles. We need help. If anyone knows or wants to help us to translate it to other languages, we'd love to, because we feel that we want to share this with many people. And thank you again, Joe. Thank you so much for making this possible. Joanna for being with us, and everybody. So Elena, and Laura is also part of our team of Re-Conectando. She has done amazing systematization. We had the luxury of systematizing the work. So still it's in Spanish, but we would love to share that, because we hope that it can be used in other places as well.
Yeah, great. So, to finish, this is the jingle of Re-Conectando. We will send you the words. Here are the images. I think they will tell more than the words. And thank you, and all our blessings for all of you.
And this is the work of an amazing film.
Renacer, abrazar la vida otra vez en el vientre de la madre tierra. Reconciliarse, mirarse, reconocer la verdad es nuestra esencia. ¿Qué está pasando? Nos estamos reconectando. Está pasando, nos estamos reconectando. Gratitud, compasión, la espiral del amor, integrando la paz en nuestro corazón. Está pasando, nos estamos reconectando. Está pasando, nos estamos reconectando.
Wonderful. Thank you all for being here.
Can I